Ok, bonjour. Aujourd'hui, nous apprenons les pronoms. Pronoms. So pronoms are pronouns. So just like in English, pronouns take the place of nouns. So instead of saying Jordan, you could say she. Instead of saying, the table, you could say it. So those are pronouns. So just like in English, there are different pronouns depending on who you're talking about, right? You have to be able to know who you're talking about. So here at the top, we have the subject pronouns for French. So a subject pronoun is something that can follow, that goes with the verb, right? You don't, so like it, I am, you are, he, she, all of those words, not pronouns like him that don't start sentences. So you can't say him runs. That doesn't start a sentence. So these are subject pronouns, pronouns that start a sentence. So I'm going to go through and fill these notes out with you. And as I'm filling the word out, I want you to pause the video, tab over to your notes, and type exactly what I'm typing in your notes. Okay? So, well, come on. Internet's going crazy. Okay. So first we have je. So répétez je. 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 En anglais, I. Then we have tu. Répétez tu. Tu. So tu is you, but the familiar version. So what that means is in French we have two different ways to say you. Tu, excuse me, I have hiccups, is what you say with people that you are very familiar with. So when you are friends with somebody, your family, you're going to use tu. And then over here, we go to vous, V-O-U-S, and that is you for people who you either aren't as familiar with or people who are in some sort of position of power or respect over you. So you would use vous with your teacher, even though you know me really well, right? You would use vous with your teacher to show respect. You would use vous with your boss, your principal, the president, to show respect. You would use vous with strangers on the street. So if you like bump into somebody and you want to say like, oh, excuse me, you would use vous to talk to that person. Okay, we'll practice switching between those. But this is where it can be tricky. Vous also has a second meaning, and that is y'all. So vous is either you formal, to somebody that's in a position of power or respect, or it is you plural, like all y'all. Okay? Let's go back over here. So we have il. Répétez il. So we practiced this when we did names at the beginning. Il s'appelle. So this is he. And then we have elle, which is féminin. So the feminine version of he is he. Okay? Okay, over here on our plural column. So these are all the singular, these are all plural. We have nous. Nous. So notice I don't pronounce the S at the end of that. Nous is we. We, the whole group. You and me together. We. And then we have vous, which is you formal or y'all. And then notice how he, we just add an S to it. So now we have he plural, which is, guess what? They. So this is they masculine. So if you have a group of guys, a group of boys together, and you are described like they are doing this thing, you're going to use il. If you have a group of all girls together, they, girls, are doing this thing, then you're going to use elle. So, question that should be popping into your head right now. What happens if, like in our classroom, we have a mixed gendered group? If we have guys and girls, maybe some non-binary people thrown in? Unfortunately, in French, we always default to masculine. Okay, so anytime there is a mixed gender group of people, so even if it is 37 girls and one guy, that one guy makes us default to using the masculine pronoun. Okay, it's just the way it is. It's language. Okay, so now there is no use in learning pronouns if we're not also going to put a verb next to it. So we are learning our very first verb, which is the verb avoir, le verbe avoir, which means to have. So a great way to always recognize verbs in French is every single one is either going to end in IR, ER, or RE. Every single verb, no exception. No exception. okay? They're all ending in those 2 letters. But avoir is what we call an irregular verb. So irregular means it doesn't follow a pattern. It's its own unique thing. So you're just going to have to memorize it, unfortunately, okay? There's no trick to it. Just memorize it. But there's only 6 different things that it could be. So for je, oh, notice it became J apostrophe right here. We're going to talk about that. The form of the verb avoir is AI. So when you smush those words together, it becomes j'ai. So I know you're wondering right now, why can't I just put this word, avoir, next to all of these pronouns, and then it suddenly means I have, you have, he has. Same thing in English. So this avoir, A-V-O-I-R, when it has that I-R on it, means to have. So if you just put avoir next to je, it would be I to have, you to have, he to have. And that does not make sense, just like it doesn't make sense in English. So in English, we change it I have, you have, he has. That verb changes depending on the pronoun that we're using it with. So it's the exact same thing in French. So we have j'ai. All right, so let's talk about why this E went away. Anytime in French, you have a vowel sound ending a word, and then a vowel sound starting a word. We don't like it. We're going to smush those words together, okay? We'll practice that a lot this year. So instead of je ai, because that's weird to say, we smush it together and it's j'ai, I have, okay? And then for tu, the verb avoir becomes a, tu as, you have. And then for il or elle, so notice these are going to have the exact same form of the verb. It's just the letter a. Il a, he has. Elle a, she has. And then for nous, we have avoir becomes avons, A-V-O-N-S. Nous avons. So notice I said the S that time. So up here, when I just said nous, I didn't pronounce the S. Now down here, nous avons, I pronounced the S. And that's that same thing that has to do with those vowel sounds. Since the next word starts with a vowel sound, it's called a liaison. We liaise those words together. You smush the pronunciation together. Nous avons. So same thing we have. Same thing happens down here with vous. Vous avez. You have or y'all have. Vous avez. Because avez starts with that vowel sound. We're going to pronounce the S at the end of this word. And then for they have, we have ils ont. So here again, we pronounce the S on il or elle because we are liaising to that O, that vowel sound, ils ont. So those are the 6 forms of the verb avoir. You have got to memorize those, okay? It is so important to know this verb. We're going to be using it for the next whole unit. It's like your foundational verb. You can't speak French if you can't use the verb avoir, okay? So what is super interesting, and this is one of the things I love about teaching this verb, is that it is way less complicated than our verbs in English. And you're like, what? I know. But in French, there's one present tense, indicative present tense. In English, there are 3 present tenses, okay? You use them all the time. You just don't realize that you're using them. So all 3 of these translations in English translate to this one phrase in French, okay? So j'ai could mean I have. It could mean I am having. Or it could mean I do have. So all 3 of those in English are present tense. They're currently happening, right? They're happening in the present of the verb to have. They just mean slightly different things. But in French, all 3 of those are just translated as j'ai. I have, I am having, or I do have. So then we have tu. So that could be you have, you are having, you do have. Remember that tu is for informal, people that you are friendly and familiar with. Il a, so it could mean he has, he is having, or it could mean he does have. All right, so what I want you to do now is pause this video, After I'm done explaining, pause it. I want you to go through and see if you can figure out the 3 English translations for each of these. So, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. We would be normally doing this on a document, Cameron. I'd give you time, but we're going to fake it right now. I want you to pause this video, go back, see if you can type on your notes the 3 different translations in English, and then when you come back, press play, and you'll have all your answers to type in. Okay, please don't just skip ahead and type in my answers. I want you to see if you can figure this out on your own, and then correct them if you need to. Okay? Okay, so check your answers. So nous avons could be we have, we are having, we do have. Vous avez could be you have or y'all have, you are having. Oops, look at me, I made a mistake. You do have. Ils ont could be they have, they are having, they do have. Okay, so all 3 of those are possible translations in English for these one phrase. So again, make note cards if you need to. Just write it over and over again a million times. You've got to get this verb down. Okay, merci.